Hey there, I'm Keith. This is my lighting Pelican 1615. If a client hires me to come set up lights for a talking head and a A and a B camera angle, this is the Pelican they're going to get if they want just me to come as a solo operator that can also bring cameras and lighting. I've learned that this is the line, and if I need to have more powerful lights or bring more lights, I now know that I can tell the client, hey, I need to hire an assistant. I've been on like a string of sub $5,000 jobs that want me to come and set up lights and have 2 cameras in multiple different locations with sound. And I feel like I can do that in one day with all of these lights. But if I start to have 600 watt lights with giant soft boxes and hard backlights with spotlight mounts, that's when things get really tricky to do on your own. I feel like the image is also suffering a little bit too, just because I'm spread too thin. It's not that I can't make a good image, it's just that I don't have enough time to do it myself. When it comes to laying out the 1615, I went with the Trex Pack version, and I wanted it to be as modular as I possibly could. So if I have a larger job, I could still maybe take some things out and put other things in. I'll get over the layout a little bit later and what else I could do with this. But starting with the lights, the first light is the Zhiyun x200. This is the bicolor version, and I saw this light announced on Instagram, and I had this one and the RGB in my cart. But I reached out to Zhiyun to see if they would send me these to make a YouTube video about, and they sent these over, so thank you, Zhiyun. The really cool part about these that caught my eye is you can actually put a V-mount battery on the side of them, and now if you hit the power button, you can actually turn this on, and this is the light here. A 200 watt light with a V-mount battery attachment on the side of it is really what drew me to this light first off. And the fact that it's a 200 watt light, you can't use it at 100% capacity if you're using it with one V-mount battery. But if you plug it into the wall, it is a 200 watt light. And I feel like a 200 watt light is that sweet spot before like 100 isn't quite enough. 300 is, I'm usually not using it at like, 75 or even 100%. I love that the AC adapter comes with a long power cable. But the interesting part is if you want to plug the AC power into the light, you have to do so with this external adapter that plugs into the V-mount port. So if you want to run this on house power at 100%, there is an external adapter that has its own fan to keep it from overheating. This also has the spotlight attachment on it, and I just keep these on the lights. Best part about these lights is the size, because I can fit multiple in here, and all of the AC and the power cords and the stand adapters can fit into one compartment in the 1615. So the reason I chose the 1615 was because of the depth that it gives you. It's the perfect size with the Trex Pack to fit one of these in here, and it sits just a little below the Trex Pack line, so it's not gonna if you close it, it's not gonna push down on the light and maybe damage it. The next light we have is the Zhiyun x200. This is the RGB version, and I've been using this light to actually raise the ambient levels of a scene. Like if it's still just a little bit dark and it feels sourcey, if I just have light blasting on a person through a softbox, I will use this light and put it in the corner. I know I'm not really utilizing the RGB function of this the best I could, but if I have to match a location with a certain color of light, I know that I can go beyond just, the regular 32 to, 10,000 Kelvin. I can actually dial in specific colors. If you're gonna do that, I've been actually using a color meter, but that's a whole nother video for another day. But also in here, I have the AC, and I have a bongo tie for the cable that I uncoiled the other one. It's a nice contained unit, and that's 200 watt lights, and I still have a ton of extra space in this case. The Zhiyun light that caught my attention first is this one that I actually bought. I was actually surprised at the quality level and the output that it has. The light itself is pretty good, but the thought that went into the modifiers is really what sold me on it. This is the spotlight with the barn doors, and it's nice if you have to like flag off light from somewhere. This light and the modifiers are cool, but what really sold me was the spotlight attachment. And this is the smallest spotlight I've ever seen. Over the past couple years, I've liked spotlight mounts more and more, but this is a 600 watt, this is a 600D with the spotlight attachment, which is humongous. If you use spotlights to raise the ambient level, like if you're going to blast a spotlight at a wall and you want some return on your subject, this is not the spotlight for you. I immediately tried that and I ran into the limitations of this spotlight pretty early, but if you want to control your light a little more and add, you know, a slash of light, or they have different gobos that you can rotate, the close focus of this spotlight attachment is actually pretty awesome. If you're using like in my office at home, I actually have been using this in my thumbnails because I'm able to focus the hard light closer, then I can focus the hard light on the Godox spotlight or this aperture spotlight. I really hope that Zhiyun makes a barn doors and spotlight attachment for the 200 watt lights, just like they did with the 100 watt lights. In this pocket, we also have the light stand adapter, and this is the power brick adapter. We have a pack of gobos for the spotlight. Next, we have a USB-C cable and a USB power brick. I've used this in a couple of different situations where I didn't need full output, where I didn't want to put the AC power adapter in, and I would just use this with a V-mount battery and plug this into the bottom of the light here. And you can power this with the Type-C connection. I have 4 V-mount batteries. I just made a cutout so these V-mounts can fit in the side pocket over here. And Zhiyun did send me this battery here, and I've been using it alongside of these other batteries, and I think they have a bundle, so if you can find a better deal on a bundle with this battery might be worth checking out because I feel like they are offering some pretty good deals on this one. Having V-mount batteries has saved me a couple different times, especially if we're moving quickly and we just need to get, you know, a 10, 20, 30 minute setup shot. The V-mounts have really been a lifesaver. And it's been even nicer just being able to like slap them on the light and go, so I don't even have to run any cables. I have 4 1-foot tube lights in here. It's kind of like a mixture of Godox and aperture tubes, but I love using these because they just add a little bit of interest to the background. And I find that if you're in a boring location, if any of my clients are watching this, I'm not talking about you, but if you have a boring location, a lot of white walls, it's easy to just put a tube in the background and just set it to like a warm color, and it just adds a little bit more interest. Going around here, I have some A-clamps and the tripod that comes with the aperture. The awesome part about this one is that this stand has a ball head on it. The real point of a lot of these things is it needs to be as fast and as easy as possible, because if things aren't easy and quick to set up, the less time I have to devote for, you know, making sure camera settings are right, or like, you know, adjusting the framing. I have 3 A-clamps in here, and I'll get into these A-clamps a little bit later. I'll just go over it right now. On the lid, I have 2 reflectors. These are just like the classic 5-in-1 reflectors, and I have one of these reflectors set up to be the white side, and it's like white and silver, and the other one is like black and gold on the other sides. Impact, if you're listening to this, please make the black and the white side be open at the same time. I'll show you really quick. This is the black side, but we also have silver on one side. It's not black and white like it should be, because if it was a little easier, I would love if you could have black on one side and white on the other, instead of like gold and silver on the black and white sides. I got 2 of these because they fit just into the front of the lid, and it takes up just about as much room as the depth of the lid does. So I can close this and it's not like pushing down on all of the other things in my compartments. If I have a job where I don't need reflectors, I need something larger, I have the option also. I also have the option for an 8x8. This is an 8x8 of Magic Cloth. my favorite diffusion ever. If I am using an 8x8 of Magic Cloth though, if I'm indoors, I'm T-barring it. I definitely need at least an assistant that knows what they're doing to help me with that. So this is like, as the job scales, I can add and remove different things from this case on a per project basis. The next compartment has one of the most used tools. This is a Klein screwdriver and a slim roll of gaff tape. This next one is a bit of a random one, so I'm just gonna rapid fire through it. This is the miscellaneous bag. This has 2 safety chains, bongo ties, baby pins, and then these are 2 impact clamps. These are like the pins with the 1/4-20 threads on them. Those have also got me out of a bind because you can just super clamp a light to something, and those are another way to rig something when you're moving quickly. This is a Camvate V-mount to light stand adapter. This has also gotten me out of a couple of jams because I can just put a V-mount on a light stand, and I have actually used this with the x100, and I can run a USB-C cable from the battery to the light, and I can put this pretty much anywhere I want to on the stand. Next one, this is another USB-C cable that I had in a bongo tie that came loose. Next we have a baby pin, and this one is specifically threaded 1/4-20 on one side and 3/8 on the other. This next thing is something I 3D printed, and this is a dummy light bulb holder for an Aperture B7C, or any light bulb, I guess. Like using the tripod mount for the light bar in a background, this is something that I used for like more of a natural look, like, you know, a light bar standing straight up. Kind of has a pretty niche use to not look very strange. But a light bulb in the background, if you can blur it out a little bit, just adds like a little like fleck of light in the background. And, you know, a light bulb exposed is more believable than a tube light used as a practical in the background. Another USB-C power brick. This one is pretty handy just to have a spare. Next are 2 impact super clamps. You never know when you're going to need one, but when you need one, it is very nice to have them. The pins, and now you have a baby pin, so you can, you know, put this on a light stand or anywhere and be able to like put a light on top here. Or also if you need to screw something in, this is nice because if you want, like, you know, if it's a light that doesn't have a baby pin receiver, you can screw this directly in and then just mount this anywhere. Next, I have a couple of these 2-prong to 3-prong adapters. I'm not advocating that you use these, but sometimes you're at an older location, or my house is 105 years old. So sometimes I need to use like a cheater 2 to 3-prong, if like you have knob and tube. Not saying I would use that with like a 600 watt light, but for a 100 or 200 watt light, I haven't ran into any issues, even at 100%. Next up, this is an adjustable crescent wrench. This is the smallest adjustable crescent wrench I could find. Last up, we have an AirTag, and I chuck these in all of my backpacks, all of my Pelican cases, so my lighting case also got one. In the last compartment, I have my iPad mini, and this is a dedicated iPad just for controlling these lights. And I used to use my phone for all of this stuff. I used to use my phone for my aperture lights, but after a while, switching between multiple apps for all of your lights or getting to notes or anything like that, when you're out doing this by yourself, like one change going back from a notes app to the, I think it's called the ZY Vega app for the Zhiyun lights, it takes like 30 seconds to reconnect to all of your lights. And this isn't just a Zhiyun problem. This is a Aperture is the same way, Godox is the same way. It's just like a limitation of the app. So I always have whatever manufacturer of lights I have up on an app that I can control. Again, if I had a gaffer, the gaffer would surely have an iPad dedicated to doing lighting, but there was some kind of like a mental hurdle that I had to get over to buy an iPad to control my lights. So I have an iPad to control my camera that I'm using right now, and we're focused on Judge Judy. I don't know how long we've been focused on Judge Judy. I have a dedicated iPad for my camera, and now I have a dedicated iPad for my lights. Next up, we have an extension cord. If I could go back and do it again, I would get 2 10-footers and, you know, put the 10-footers together to make one long one if I needed to, or have the flexibility of 2 shorter 10-foot cables. And finally, we have these impact linking stands that are super dirty and dusty. Having these stands in the case is the reason I went with this case in particular instead of like a smaller one like a 1510, because having these interlocking stands allows me to have one stand for each of my 3 lights, and then I can also have a stand for negative fill or a bounce. It's been really helpful to have all of these stands in one spot. The one thing that I can't fit inside of this case is the softbox. Zhiyun also sent me this 3-foot softbox. This is the 30 centimeter, and it's just a little bit too large to fit in the 1516. And also, last but not least, my Aperture MT grid. A couple of different things that also came with the x200s. One of them was this dual V-mount to light stand adapter. I haven't actually used this dual V-mount to light stand adapter yet, but I do keep it in case I do have a longer take and I do need to use the V-mount power. One critique of this is that it just feels like a little bit plasticky. I've done tests in the office and it's been working totally fine. You plug this adapter into the top here, and then you plug this V-mount connection into your light itself. And it's totally worked fine, but I haven't used it long-term enough to speak to its durability, given that it is plastic. Another thing that Zhiyun includes if you buy the combo is this adjustable selfie stick here, and you can use this to kind of like a light stand to put this on something. I again haven't used this one much because I'm using the dedicated like a light stand. I love that lightweight travel lights have a lightweight case with them. Again, if I didn't have this Pelican case that had more of a dedicated purpose to house these lights, I would totally use this to take these lights around. If you are traveling, this is a pretty small, awesome package, and all of the accessories that comes with the light fits in this case. I haven't been paying attention to my eye autofocus, so I'm sorry if it's like jumping to Judge Judy in the background. I thought this would just be funny, but it may have ruined my entire video. This is my Pelican 1615 lighting case, and this is the lighting case that I have found works on small one-man band jobs where they want you to do lighting and 2 cameras and audio. This seems to be about the threshold of what I'm comfortable with, and I have multiple 600 watt lights that I can and have set up before, and like 8x8s of magic cloths and book lights and all this stuff. But I've found that if a client has an expectation in their head that we're going to move quickly and we're going to hire one person, maybe an assistant, this is about the Pelican that I'm comfortable with delivering good results. If we have multiple setups during the day, I don't have time to tear down 600 watt lights and book lights and move it to another location just to set it up, set up the camera, set up the microphones. It's just not going to happen. So if I'm spread too thin, overall the image or the lighting or the audio suffers, and I don't want to deliver a subpar result to my client, because if I do that, then they're just going to think I'm bad at my job instead of them realizing all of this stuff actually takes a lot of people and effort and time to set up. So this is where I've landed. I've only used it on like 3 jobs, but the 3 jobs have gone pretty well so far. It's about managing expectations, and if something is outside of the scope of this case, then we have to bring on more people and more lights. So let me know what you guys think of this setup in the comments down below, and where your threshold is for small jobs where it's just you, and then hiring assistants or gaffers or grips. I would love to know where that threshold is for you. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.